What's up, YouTube fam? So today I'm going to attempt to do a home alignment on the Audi, or a shade tree alignment on the Audi. I'm not going to, I don't have an alignment machine. It's the one tool that I wish I had so that I could do it the right way, but I really don't like anyone working on my cars for anything. The only thing that I let anybody touch on my cars is the tires, because I don't have the equipment to do it, and I don't have any way of disposing of tires, especially with all the EPA regulations and all that kind of crap. That's the only thing that I will let anybody do on my car other than detail it. Any mechanic work, or body work for that matter. I mean, there's probably maybe 2 people that I would let do body work on my car, just because I know them and I trust them. But as far as mechanic work, I don't let anybody work on my car. Not to say that there's not mechanics out there that are freaking leaps and bounds better than me. I don't know them, and I have very bad trust issues with people. So that's the main reason I'm trying to do these videos, is to help people like me who don't trust people to work on their cars and to do it the right way. So with that being said, I need to put new tires on the car before I can take it and get an actual alignment at the dealership, or not the dealership, but at the tire store. So for me to have the ability to test drive the vehicle, make sure that the suspension's working correctly, I also want to make sure that my rear suspension and front suspension can be aligned properly. Now, I still have not done the rear wheel bearings. I'm going to replace the rear wheel bearings before I go get the alignment done at the tire shop. So that's the other reason why I want to do an alignment here at home, so that I can make sure that my tire wear problems are better than they were, because I'm eating through tires on this car. So I got to figure out what's wrong with this thing eating through tires. It'd be easy if I had an alignment machine. It'd be able to tell me, but with the condition that my tires are in right now, no alignment shop's even going to do an inspection on a stupid thing. So I'm going to do a basic alignment here at the house. There's not really a whole lot of adjustments that you can do on these cars, unless you have the 034 adjustable uppers. And I mean, I'm running all stock components. So the camber and the caster are non-adjustable on the front. On the back, the camber is adjustable, caster is not. Toe's adjustable on front, and I believe it's adjustable on rear. I have to look, I can't remember. It should be adjustable on rear. I haven't ever done an alignment on one of these Audis at home. I've always taken it to a shop to get the alignment done, so this is going to be a first for me doing it at home. I know I've done it on multiple cars, I've just never done it on an Audi before. So you're going to see me doing it for the first time, but it's relatively simple from what I've done on other vehicles. This may prove to be different, but we'll see in the long run. So basically what I'm going to do, make sure all my tires are inflated to the proper air level. And then I'm going to get the car sitting on the levelest piece of ground that I got outside. So that's the other thing. This is not going to be ideal. If I had a concrete parking lot or a parking pad that I could do this on, that would be ideal. I'm doing this on the gravel out here in the house, in the front driveway. I'll get it close, but you'll get the relative idea of how to do this. And if you're doing it on a concrete pad, it'll actually work pretty easy, I think. We'll find out. But I'm going to get the front alignment done, rear alignment done. Then I'm going to take it out for a drive and see how it responds, and we'll go from there. But we need to have all the tires at the same level, put it on the level ground. Be able to measure for my toe adjustment off of those lines, front and rear of the tire on front and rear of the car. And then I'll use a framer square to check the camber. Caster is non-adjustable. I personally haven't worked on a car with an adjustable caster. But camber, some cars they're adjustable, some they're not. On these Audis from the factory, it's not adjustable. It's all built into the control arms and all that stuff. So if you have the adjustable control arms, you can adjust your camber. but you're still not able to adjust your well, I think with the adjustables you can adjust your caster as well, but typically nobody ever messes with caster. So, yeah, let's get into it and we'll see what's going on. I'm going to give you a brief rundown of what I've done to the car since the last video, and we'll go from there. All right, so in order to start doing this alignment, I know that I have specific issues with my car. It's eating through tires on the rear end of the car. So before I get too carried away, now the front, the camber is non-adjustable unless you have the 034 adjustable uppers. But there is a camber adjustment for the rear. So before we do any toe adjustments on the vehicle, we need to do a camber adjustment because that will affect toe. So I'm going to check the camber adjustments on both of these rear wheels and see where they're at. They're supposed to have 1.5 degrees of camber, the top of the tire in towards the car, the bottom of the tire out. So it's supposed to be 1.5 degrees that way. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to check that here in just a second. All right, so the way that I check it is with the angle gauge and just a level that I have. So this gives me a good surface to go off of. Ideally, I would want to do it off of the rim, off of that lip of the rim and that lip of the rim, the highest point, so that I can get it flat, because you can get a deflection from the tire. But for these purposes, I'm not going for perfect because I'm going to replace these tires. I want to see if it's where it's supposed to be. And no, it is at exactly 90 degrees, and it should be at 88.5. So yeah, I need to adjust this wheel. Now I'm going to go check the other wheel and we'll see what it is. All right, so now I'm going to check this wheel. Just set it on the tire, hold it flat against there, and then hold the angle gauge on there. And this one is reading 88.5. So this one's correct. So I don't need to do a camber adjustment to this wheel. I do need to do a camber adjustment to the driver's side wheel. All right, so now I'm going to go back down to the house because I'm up in the cul-de-sac in my neighborhood, or not my neighborhood, but the street that my house is off of. And I'm going to go back down to the house, show how to do the camber adjustment. After I get the camber adjustment done, I'm going to come back up here because this is the most level place that I have to use to do the toe adjustment. And you'll understand why when I get to doing the toe adjustment. So I'll pick back up when I show you how to adjust the camber on this thing. So this is my first time doing an alignment on the rear of these, so I wasn't aware of how all this is set up. But the camber adjustment for the top is here, but also when you do the toe adjustment, it's gonna kick some camber as well. So I'm actually going to go check the toe on the rear of this to see if the toe needs to be adjusted. Because if the toe needs to be adjusted, I'm going to have to adjust the toe and the camber at the same time so that I can try and get this thing squared away where I need it to be. So I'm going to go back out to the cul-de-sac, set up my strings and measure, and figure out what the toe is on this thing. And I'll know the camber on the rear and the toe on all four wheels. And we'll see where it goes from there. All right, guys. So I haven't been able to do anything with the car for the last day or so because it's been raining. So I'm back up here in the cul-de-sac and I've got my alignment rack set up. I'm gonna show you what I'm getting ready to do. So in order to do the alignment on this car, I've taken 2 pieces of PVC pipe and I've got them cut at the exact same length, and I've got 2 slots cut in them at the exact same width. And what I did was I measured the track width on the car, and then I added 4 inches. All right, guys, I want to clarify how to do the rig a little bit better. So what I did was I measured the width of the wheels from the outside of the tire on the front passenger side to the outside of the tire on the front driver's side. And then I added 4 inches to each side. And then what I did was cut my PVC pipe to that length. Then I made a mark 2 inches in from one side and 2 inches in from the other side, and cut both of the pipes at the same time, maybe 1/8 of an inch down into the pipe, just enough to create a groove. and that's where my fishing line is strung, so that I can make sure that they're straight and on the same plane as the one as the other pipe. So just wanted to clarify that. Now what I need to do is measure from the center of the wheel. So pick any center point, preferably as close to the center of the wheel as possible. I'm gonna go right here off the edge of the rim, but I'm gonna go off the exact same point on the other side of the car, and then I'm gonna do it on the rear of the wheel in the back. That way I'll get it as straight as possible, because what I'm trying to do is line up this fishing line, and that's gonna allow me to measure from the edge of the rim out to the fishing line, and then from the edge of the rim out to the finishing line, and that'll give me what my toe is on here. I've got the steering wheel set straight. I've moved the car into position, rolled it back and forth, and now, so the suspension's completely relaxed. So now I'm gonna measure to get the square set, and then I'll check for my toe. All right, so like I said, I'm gonna measure from the front right here. So we're at 3 inches. Well, let me get directly over top of it and get this all the way up to it without touching it. Okay, 3, 2. So 3 1/16. I don't have a metric ruler, so I'm having to do this with a really teeny tiny measurement ruler, but we'll be all right. All right, I'm at exactly 3 inches there. And I'm at 23 30 here. No, 25. All right, so I'm at, all right, let's see how that does. All right, so that was a little time consuming, but you just got to keep going between the 2 wheels on the front, from the center to the string, get them measuring the same, then go to the back, measure them and get them both the same, come back to the front and double check it, make sure it didn't move. And then as long as all your measurements are looking good, now the rear will be different from the front, because your track width will be different from the front to the rear. But once you verify that the 2 back wheels are the same space away from the string and the 2 front wheels are the same distance away from the string, then you can start measuring for toe. And that's what I'm gonna do right now. So now what you wanna do is you wanna measure from the edge of the lip of the rim. You don't really wanna go off the tire, you wanna go off the rim. So measure off the same point on the rim, on the front and the back, and that's gonna be the difference in your toe. Need to make sure that your steering wheel is completely straight before you do this. And then you don't want to actually touch the fishing line. All right, you want to bring the ruler up straight and just barely kiss it, so that you can make sure that you're actually hitting where it's measuring, and drop it back down and make sure that it's repeating at the same spot. So we're at 1 inch, 27 30 Actually, I'm gonna go with the 50ths because it's more accurate. So we're gonna go 1 inch. One inch 820. And 2 inch. Jesus. One inch 720. 2 inch 100. So that does show that my string is straight in relation to both wheels, because I'm exactly 100 different from this wheel to that wheel. 2 inch 260. 2 inch 140. 2 inch 140. 2 inch 160. So here's the current numbers off of my car, and I actually have these wrong. Okay, that's better. So I am at positive 3.6 degree or 3.6 minutes on the back passenger side tire. I'm positive 22.8 minutes, and I'm only supposed to be at 8 minutes, plus or minus 5. And then on the front, I'm actually negative 72.6 minutes. So roughly like 1.5 degrees. No, not 1.5, 1.05 degrees or something close to that. And then here I'm a little over a half a degree off, because there's 60 minutes in 1 degree, and this is negative 34 minutes, 0.2 of a minute. So this is supposed to actually be positive 10 minutes, plus minus 2 minutes, and that's total. So it should be 5 here, 5 here. Same back here. This is 8. It should be 4 here, 4 here. And then with a total difference of 10 minutes between the front and the rear track. So I'm gonna go make my adjustments. I am going to have to adjust the toe on this side. The toe actually looks pretty good on here, so I'll be able to do the camber adjustment, and then we'll see where we are from there. But and then as far as the front goes, I'm gonna do the toe adjustment. I'll do a freeform toe adjustment, and then when I get up to where I'm doing the, when I reset up my rig, I'll do the toe adjustment with it in place. All right, guys, so to make my toe adjustment, before I start making it, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that black line, but I've got a black line drawn on here and on the other side of the bolt on the back end. Now what I'm gonna do, this is pretty much a guessing game on my end. If I knew the conversion of how big that thing was, and I knew how much every degree of rotation of that bolt moved the rear end, I'd be able to calculate how far to turn it, but I have no clue what that is. So I'm just gonna move it a little bit, retake a measurement, measure how much I moved it, and then I should be able to figure out how far I need to move it for additional movements. But now what I'm gonna do is crack loose this nut on this side. It's an 18 millimeter on here and an 18 millimeter on the other side. So I'm gonna crack the nut loose, and then I'm gonna turn the other side because the washer is locked on, it's made into the bolt. Turn the other side to pull the front of the wheel in this way. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rotate this bolt. Essentially looking at it from this side, I'm gonna rotate it up so that the fat side goes further to the back to pull the wheel in. All right, now you should be able to see how much I moved it. My original mark is right here where my finger is. The mark has been moved up there. So now I'm going to move the other side and see what I can get done. All right, guys. So to adjust the front toe, you break that nut loose right there, and then you turn this inner tie rod and nut and move it to adjust your toe in or out. Okay, guys, now that I've done my first set of adjustments, I adjusted the toe on the rear and the toe on the front. So now I'm gonna go recheck it with the fishing line and the PVC pipe and recheck my toe. I'm not gonna worry about camber until I get the toe correct on the rear, and then I'll mess with the camber and I'll see where I fall. But I adjusted the front end, should be within 5 degrees on each wheel. And then the rear end, I don't know where I am. It's just a guessing game. On the front end, I was able to calculate what I needed to turn. Hopefully, now I'm basing this off of information that I found on the internet, so I don't know if it's correct or not, but read online that every flat of the hex on these Audis is essentially 4.5 minutes of degree. So I turned it out a little over 15 on the driver's side, and like 6 3/4 flats on the passenger side. And then the rear, I just adjusted them. I adjusted the driver's side a little bit more than the passenger side, and I'm just gonna see where it falls. All right, guys, so I just got done adjusting the front. Oh, Jesus, my nose is freaking filthy. I just got done adjusting the front toe on the car, and I screwed up. I didn't realize that the steering wheel was turning when I was adjusting the toe, and it hit a stop and locked. It's not off a lot. It's off probably about, I don't know, the steering wheel sitting like this instead of being straight. So what I'm gonna have to do, I really did not think I was gonna have to do this to the Audi. You have to do it to certain cars. I guess the Audi's one of them. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to take ratchet straps and strap the steering wheel and then strap it to the seat frame so that I can hold the steering wheel perfectly straight while I adjust the toe. Because the car's riding straight as could be right now. I've got the toe perfect, but the steering wheel's crooked. So I'm gonna readjust it tomorrow. And now you can do your adjustments while the vehicle is on the ground if you have skinny arms like me, or if you put smaller wheels on it, you'll be able to reach through the wheel well and get to it. But if your car is lowered in any fashion at all, you're not going to be able to do this with the car on the ground. So with that being said, I'll pick up tomorrow and do my little bit of adjustment, and I'll show you how far off the steering wheel was, because what it did was it hit to the first lock when the steering wheel is when the ignition's turned off. So it's like 5 or 10 degrees. So the car is driving straight as an arrow, but the steering wheel is crooked. Okay, so these are my new measurements after I've made my adjustments outside. You can see that I'm almost dead true 0, and I'm almost dead true 0 here, which is not correct. I still need to make further adjustments. So these are the numbers that I'm shooting for on the front. These are going to be the numbers that I'm shooting for on the rear. Both of the rear should be the same, both of the front should be the same. So it's too dark to do anything further with the vehicle today. So I'm going to go back out there tomorrow, ratchet strap the steering wheel in place so that it doesn't turn when I'm doing my front toe adjustment. Get my front toe adjustment set to these numbers, and that'll get my toe at exactly 10 degrees or 10 minutes, plus minus nothing. That'll get me at exactly 10 minutes of positive toe. And then if I put both rear wheels at 2-inch 2.1 and 2.05 on both wheels on the rear, that'll put me at 10 minutes of, or that'll put me at 8 minutes of positive toe on the back. So yeah, and then I'll be within the 10 minutes of each other. And then it's just rechecking camber on this wheel and this wheel after I get all my toe set. I may still have to make further adjustments to the rear after I do a camber adjustment. The rear is a real pain in the ass to get it dialed in. So that's going to be the most time consuming thing. So I'll pick back up when I make more adjustments.
All right, guys, so I'm back up in the cul-de-sac. Just got done making my final adjustments on the suspension, and everything looks like it's right where it's supposed to be. So I wound up getting the rear toe at 4 degrees on each wheel, positive. I got both of the front wheels 5 degrees on each wheel, positive. And I got the camber on both rear wheels. The passenger side wheel is at 1 degree. I can't get it to go any further. The driver's side wheel is at 1.5 degrees. So I'm completely out of adjustment on the camber going the direction I need it to go. So I'm just stuck at 1 degree. I'll probably have to wind up replacing the upper control arm or the lower support for the rear. I really don't know what I'm going to have to replace to get the camber back where it needs to be on this wheel. But I'm going to flip the camera around and show you. This is the side that actually has damage on the car. So I think it's damage from whenever this stuff to the door and the quarter panel happened. So as you can see, this side of the car has actually been hit before. And I'm willing to bet that it hit the wheel and messed up something back here, because it's all around the wheel, even the back side of the quarter. So that wheel I can only get 1 degree of camber the correct way. The other wheel I still have adjustment to go even further than where I'm at now. But I've got 1.5 degrees on the driver's side, 1 degree on this side. Front camber's non-adjustable, but the toes correct back here, toes correct up there. So yeah. Now I also wanted to show you how I have the steering wheel locked in. Let me walk around to the other side of the car so you can see this. So what I did was I took 2 ratchet straps, wrap them around the steering wheel, and then I've got them hooked to the seat. And that's what's holding my steering wheel from being able to turn while I'm making my adjustments.
All right, everybody. So now I've made all of my adjustments. I got my alignment completely straight on the car. It's driving phenomenal. I will leave you with this one piece of advice when you're doing this car. Adjust one wheel, roll the car back and forth to get the, unless you've got plates that allow the wheel to rotate without gripping onto the road. If you're doing it like I'm doing it, where you're out on the street or on concrete or something like that, you're gonna need to make an adjustment and then roll the car back and forth and then reset up your rig, or make your rig big enough to where you can roll the car back and forth and then recheck it, because when the tire rolls back, it'll actually rotate a little bit when it rolls back and then straight. So when I did my first adjustment after I locked the steering wheel in with the ratchet straps, I just did all the adjustments all at once, and what it did was it was actually loading the steering rack. So I was moving both wheels in the same direction, so it moved the steering rack instead of moving the steering wheel. So you need to do one wheel adjustment, roll the car back and forth, recheck it, do your other wheel adjustment, roll the car back and forth, recheck it. When you do your final check, you need to roll the car back and forth with no adjustments being made, and then recheck the final measurements. Now, like I said, on the rear, I was able to get 1 degree on the back passenger wheel and 1.5 degrees on the driver's side wheel for the camber. Both of the wheels are supposed to be at 1.5 degrees, but I'm out of adjustment for camber on the rear wheel. So that probably explains why my car has been eating through tires, because it can't be adjusted correctly. So I've got it as close as I can get it. I don't think it's going to eat through tires as bad, because the rear axle on this, or the rear end on this thing, was so out of whack. Now it's actually pretty straight. I can feel a difference in how the car is driving, so this definitely made a vast improvement over the handling of it previously. But I also replaced the entire front suspension, so that could have a whole lot to do with it. But with the new suspension, new CV axles, new wheel bearings, and doing the 4-wheel alignment like I did, this thing drives like a dream. I'm still going to replace the rear wheel bearings and all 4 shocks, and then I'm going to do a brake upgrade all the way around on all 4 wheels. So hopefully the next video will come a little quicker than I've been able to do these, but I'm still going through some serious shit. So it's not getting any better, not getting any easier, and it's probably going to take even longer than I thought for this to go through. So like I said, it's going to be touch and go for a while, but I'm going to keep trying to put out good content for you guys. And I believe we might start working on the Lexus again fairly soon. I'm not 100% certain, but I think we're going to. And whenever I start picking up on the Lexus again, I'll start uploading videos on it again. The Veloster has been put on hold indefinitely because of what I'm going through. My hands are kind of tied. I can't do anything right now. I wish I could explain to you guys what's going on. And when I'm able to explain what's going on, it will all make sense to you guys. But right now, I can't discuss it. Just know that my hands are tied and I'm pretty limited on what I can do. So I'm going to keep trying to provide good content for you guys. Try to keep giving instructional videos, educational videos, that sort of thing. And we'll just go from there. But if this video helped you out in any way, if you like what I'm doing, please like, comment, share, subscribe. Let your friends see what I'm doing. And let's continue to have this channel to grow. All we can do is keep pushing, and eventually the channel will get big enough to where I can reinvest money from the channel into the builds that I'm doing. Because right now I'm doing all this out of pocket, and I mean, I don't care about the money, but it would make making content easier. So anyway, hope y'all enjoyed the video. Have a great one.